Neil, thank you so much for joining me today. Look, I want to chat The Last of Us Part 2. It's almost a year on. I've always described The Last of Us as zigging rather than zagging in the AAA space in terms of your storytelling. It goes where most sort of AAA games don't. Like, do you see that as a mission statement of the series, or is it something like way less contrived than that?
It's a partially me thing, Naughty Dog thing, is like that we want every game we put out there, every story to have weight and consequences. So it's like you shouldn't be able to remove any entry from a series and you wouldn't miss it. But especially, I guess, with The Last of Us, because it has so much weight and, death and consequences, that we knew there was, certain choices in the story that there's no coming back from, no matter how much some people would beg us to come back from that.
Why don't you say whatever speech you got rehearsed? Get this over with.
I think back even to Uncharted 4, where we couldn't necessarily kill somebody off just because it wasn't the right tone for it, but still wanted to have weight and show that there's a permanent change to the characters and their arcs. So that's something, when Hallie and I were working on the stories, it's something we're very focused on, is like, how are all these characters changing where there's no turning back at the end of the story. They're all different people if they're still around. That was very important as we were putting the story together.
On that, we're talking tone, we're talking the Naughty Dog tone, the Last of Us tone. The Last of Us series is coming up. There are a lot of questions about this. Will it follow the story beats of the first or the second game closely? Or are you sort of more aiming for a flexible story with that same tone?
When we were wrapping up Last of Us 2, I would meet pretty regularly with Craig Mazin, who's the co-showrunner, executive producer on the show. Did Chernobyl, which was amazing and blew us away. And we talked about at length, about season 1 of the show is going to be game 1. And what are the philosophical underpinnings of the story? Like, those are the most important to get right. As far as the more kind of superficial things, is like, should the person wear the same plaid shirt or the same red shirt? Like, they might or might not appear in it. That's way less important to us than getting kind of like the core of who these people are and the core of their journey. But things sometimes stay pretty close, and it's funny to see like my dialogue there from the games and HBO scripts. And then sometimes they deviate greatly to much better effect, because we are dealing with a different medium. That, for example, in the game, there's so much action you have to train the player about mechanics. So you have to have more violence and like kind of more spectacle to some degree than you would need on the TV show, because you don't need to train people on how to use a gun. So that's something that's actually very different. And HBO has been great in just like pushing us to really move away from just like hardcore action and more like focus on the drama of the character. And I've been really enjoying that. But some of my favorite episodes so far have deviated greatly from the story, and I can't wait for people to see them.
I know you wish things were different. I wish things were different. But they ain't.
What can I share that won't get me into too much trouble? I'm super excited about the casting we already announced with Ellie and Joel, and I can't wait for people to see what we saw in the people we put together. And then, screw it, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I just saw the first prosthetic test for the clicker, and it's awesome. It's so rad to see this thing come to physical life. That's all I'm going to say. I can't say anything.
We are almost a year on from The Last of Us Part 2. It has an incredible fan base. Now that we're almost a year on, is there anything that you'd like to share to that fan base? Some of the most loyal fans in the video game space are Last of Us Part 2 fans.
Thank you for being supportive. Thank you for encouraging more character development and storytelling. Thank you for embracing these flawed characters and this wild ride. And thank you for making the years and years we worked on it mean something.
Thank you so much, Neil and Hallie. It has been a pleasure talking to you both today.
Cool, thank you.
Always with you, Lucy.